Hi, today I'm bringing a video tutorial of how this photo was made. It's a mix of digital art and photography. The video will consist of two parts. In the first, we'll show you the photo session, talk about the lights, the composition and process, and the second part will be dedicated to people who really want to learn how to retouch this kind of photographs, and I will explain more technical things in Photoshop. Very useful techniques such as dodge and burn and others, very necessary in skin retouching. So whatever your interests are, stick with the video if you want to improve your skills. Well, we're starting with the explanation of the first part. For any photo session, it's important that you search for some reference in order to be more clear about the style or aesthetic you want to convey. For this occasion, we have chosen this that you are seeing on screen. There are some photos that are hitting it on TikTok. As you can see, it follows an Asian style. They are mixed between fantasy, reality, with a touch of tradition and beautiful girls. For the composition, I thought about an ancient girl who is going to cast fire magic. Once we have more or less clear what the style we are going to follow, we'll get to work into the light. I put the light like this. We have a key light that we point on the model about 45 degrees. Then we have a backlight that point direct to the nape of the girl, generating an aura of the light in her hair. Then with help of these small LED panels that are the Aperture MC, which illuminate the light in the hands of the model. We always start with some test photos to warm up and test that the light are correct. As you can see, the first two photos we took, they're actually bad. This is the light, the camera adjustment, the clothing. The photo doesn't come out right, so we will make the necessary adjustment until we are satisfied. You can see that pig is too dark, but it's done on purpose because in post it's more easier to recover the shadow than in a super illuminated photo. The lens we have used in that photo session is the Sigma 2470. There are already a couple of videos on the channel where I talk about this wonderful lens, so if you are interested, I leave the link above. Well, this has been the first part of the video, the process of the photo session in general. Now we will explain in more detail the whole process in Photoshop. Well, let's start with the second part. We're going to open our raw files, and the first thing we'll do is click in Optic and make a profile correction by clicking here. Once open, do a copy of the layer with Ctrl J, and then we'll do a quick selection using Selection and Subject. Refine the edges in the selection and apply the mask. Now we copy and paste the selection in a new layer and deactivate it. In settings, I'm going to select Curve and drag the line up, invert the clipping mask with Ctrl I. Then in the subject selection, Ctrl left click to select the content of the layer. Return to the curve clipping mask and press Ctrl I so the model will be illuminated. We'll do the same but in the opposite way to darken the background. Once we have that, we press Ctrl Shift X to open the Liquify tool. The adjustment is up to you. Now open the curve setting again, stretch the line up until we see the color of the eyes. Invert the layer with Ctrl I, and with a brush with the opacity to the minimum, paint the lower part of the eyes. Now, move on to skin retouching. I'm going to explain a technique called dodge and burn, which consists in open a curve layer, raise the line upwards. This layer is gonna be the highlights. Then open a setting of tone and saturation and run the saturation line to the minimum so we get the black and white. Let's open another curve adjustment layer, but now drag the line down. Select all the three layers we have created and put them together into a group. The first layer is the shadow and the second layer is the highlights. Invert the layer of the highlights and with a brush with an opacity over 20% and a 40% flow, we begin to paint the part where we want to be more highlights. Once we have it, apply a Gaussian burn to layer with a value of 3.5. Select all the layers we have created so far, and with Ctrl J, we will make a copy with Ctrl E. With a Ctrl E, convert in a smart object. Open our RAW camera with a shape, Ctrl A, and adjust our image settings up to you. Alright, next I'm going to teach you another very simple and good technique for skin retouching. I always use both. So we will make a copy of the layer, invert it with Ctrl I, and convert the layer to vivid light. Go to Filters, Odors, High Pass. We give a value of 9, OK. Go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, give a value of 2 or 3, OK. Apply the layer mask, invert the layer with Ctrl I, and then with a brush and opacity of 70%, go over all part of the skin. At this point, all the detail you want to apply will be up to you. In my case, I wanted to improve the hair to give it a more Asian aesthetic. Basically, what I did was redraw a new hairstyle by hand. For this, you will need to download specific brushes. I will leave a link below with the brushes that I have used here, so you can have it too. Once we're done, group it again, make a copy of the group and turn it into a smart object, open RAW camera, and adjust the image as we wish. I have cropped the photo for the Instagram dimensions. Now make a selection of the illuminated part with Ctrl-Shift-Alt+2. We copy and paste it in a new layer, go to Filter, Blue, Radial Blue, and use these parameters. We give Ctrl-T to adjust it, and we apply the last detail. So this is the result. I hope it has been helpful for you, all the technique we have talked about. If you liked the video, you can subscribe and all that stuff. So be happy and see you soon.